Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. Ladies and gentlemen, I am like the old lady who lived in a shoe because I've got so much Q I don't know what to do. So I'm going to read it through for you and you too. All right, keep in mind, I always read these through one time first. If you want to skip straight through to the analysis, just click on the timestamp below and you will be magically teleported there. I have no idea the science behind it. All right, 909, we get this. False flag prevented. Next, immigration. Chickened separation. Narrative change critical. IDEN talking points. Distract IG report / hearings / Korea. Iran next. Regime in trouble. People awake. Projection. These people are sick. Winning. Q. 911. Adding on to that, Q says spelling error due to mobile. Q. 921. An Anon posts a picture of this. Says, have a peek at her ring. Just sick. Q says, part of the club. Q. 1043. We get this Hannity link. Reread drops regarding 302 mod. DOJ forced to supply. Rod Rosenstein in brackets. Rank and file testifying as informants. Hussein White House SR staffer on record. Pain. House of Cards. These people are sick. Doctors treating. Q. 106. We get this right here. It is a post from April 25th. Are you awake? Do you see for yourself the MSM propaganda tool on the left? Do you see Facebook, Twitter, Google censoring non-left POVs? Do you see the corruption? Do you see the evil? Are you a slave? Are you controlled? Are you a sheep? Are you awake? Do you think for yourself? Learn the truth, facts, history, the great awakening. They are losing control. Respect opinion or attack those who dare challenge the narrative. It's right in front of you. Who are the true fascists? Who are the true racists? Why does the Antifa flag mimic that of the Nazis? Coincidence? For humanity, wake up, learn, fight, fight, fight. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Q adds on. They want you divided. They call us names. They make threats. They censor. They lie. They project. They cheat. They steal. They harm. They are sick. They are evil. At some point, the streets for them will not be safe. Q. 9 minutes after the hour 4, abandoned ship. Hussein staff talking. Then we have a Twitter link. What are we leading up to? Q. 50 minutes after the hour 5, we get this tweet from Pam Warner. I'm at the Trump rally in Duluth, Minnesota, waiting in a huge room full of people to get in, and a guy gets up on a table and starts talking about Q. He starts chanting, where we go one. Those of us who knew responded loudly, we go all, many times over and over. I had to explain to many people around me what it meant. Was so awesome. Where we go one, we go all. Hashtag MAGA. Q says, we hear you, patriots. Where we go one, we go all. Q. 18 minutes after the hour 7, we get this picture of Trump pointing out to a man in a Q t-shirt. Does it get any more obvious than that? Q proof is the title of the picture. Q says together. Where we go one, we go all. Hashtag winning Q. 19 minutes after the hour 4, adding on to together winning, we get look for more direct confirmations. It's time. Q. 13 minutes after the hour of 8, we get boom. We get a Twitter link, and we get 3 brackets, 2 brackets, 1 bracket, Q. Adding on to that, at 14 minutes after the hour of 8, Q says, are they serious? Q. 22 minutes after the hour of 8, we serve at the pleasure of the president. We left the decision on timing to him. Today at the rally, he made his decision. Shift in tactics, attacks. Q. And 44 minutes after the hour of 9, we get a Twitter link. A Q plus says, now that's what I call a VIP. 28 minutes after the hour of 12, an Anon posts this. VIP Anon reduced for Infinity 1. For you, VIP Anon. Q says, January 20th, 2017, June 20th, 2018. Exactly 17 months. Do you believe in coincidences? God bless you all. Q. Adding on to that, at 35 minutes past the hour of 12, Q says, we told you proofs were going to be very important soon. New eyes, be ready. 5-5, we thank you for your service. Q. Adding on to that, at 1 minute after the hour of 1 p.m., We stand, we fight together. Organized riots being planned, countermeasures in place. Resistance far smaller than portrayed by MSM. Attacks will intensify. You collectively are a massive threat. Censorship applied to scale down impact/reach. It's failing. Trust yourself. Public awakening, Q. And 6 minutes after the hour of 1, Q says, Q&A Saturday, time TBD, Q. Oh, you button pushers are so brave. How did it work out for you? All right, let's take it back to the beginning, because if I took you to the end, we'd already be finished. 9 o'clock. False flag prevented. Next, immigration/chickadee separation. Narrative change critical. Identity talking points. Distract IG report/hearings. Korea. All right. Well, look, nobody wants to be separated from their chickadees, right? And when we're talking about children, it's always a tough topic because children pull at your heartstrings. That's the point. And I think that's exactly why the deep state has gone for such a desperate measure. Now, they know if they don't flood the borders, they're not going to get any votes at all. And that's dangerous for them. So they really got to push this through. And so the only way to do this is to really vilify the Trump administration, who didn't have much to do with these laws. They were simply just enforcing these laws from years ago. And we've seen this carry on through a couple administrations. And so it's not really a left or right issue. And I think most of us already know that. But the deep state knows that their followers don't really know that. And we're seeing a lot of disinformation spread on the internet, as we always do. But in this particular case, we're seeing a lot of people posting pictures from years back, 2014, and trying to claim it to the Trump administration. It's just very dangerous times for the media because people are perpetuating all this fake news. And we did have a false flag. Now, I got this at 9 o'clock. This would have been my time last night. And as I saw this minutes later, I got this article here off of Breitbart. Man arrested after explosion at North London railway station. London police have arrested a man on suspicion of causing an explosion after a small blast at a Southgate station caused by stampede, injuring 5. The 23-year-old male was arrested Wednesday and held on suspicion of an act likely to cause an explosion to injure or damage property and endangering safety on the railway, reports the BBC. The move came just hours after Metropolitan Police said in a statement, the scene has been examined by specialist officers. It appears at this stage that the cause of the explosion was a battery short circuit. All right, so we had this, and also off of Breitbart, London Islamic State affiliate days from beheading attack on Theresa May. An Islamic State-inspired man from North London was just days away from launching a bomb and knife attack on 10 Downing Street, aiming to take the head off of Theresa May, a court has heard. Naimur Zakaria Rahman, 20, also considered a sophisticated drone attack on Parliament, but chose a full frontal suicide attack on the Prime Minister's residence after undercover spies supplied him with a fake suicide vest. The radical Muslim from Finchley in North London had also received bomb-making tuition from his uncle, who had traveled to Syria to join Islamic State jihadists before being killed in a drone strike, the Old Bailey heard Tuesday, according to the Times. All right, so look, we've had lots of attempts, and those of you who have seen what's been going on around the USA too, feel free to drop your links down below. But these are the ones that I saw within minutes of the post. And, clearly, look, so this guy, Naimur, seems like a charmer, ladies, in case you're interested. The guy's got goals. After all, he says, where does he say it right here? Yeah, he was going for, I want to attempt to kill Theresa May. So there you go, ladies. You want a guy with clear direction, clear goals in his life? This guy, Rahman, is your guy. And of course, his name is Naimur Zakaria Rahman. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to point it out. It's not like his name is Leroy Jenkins. You know what I'm saying? Radical Muslim from Finchley in North London. Notice they didn't say the easygoing Muslim from Finchley in North London. The everybody's neighbor Muslim from Finchley in North London. No, he's radical. He's radical. And he had an uncle that gave him tuition for bomb making. God, dog. And then he got killed in a drone strike too. So it sounds like it's all in the family. What a charming family. Have them over for dinner. All right. Hey, to Mayor Sadiq Khan, how's all that working out for you over there in London? How's that working out for you? To our UK friends, hang in there. We're going to work this out. All right, so we got some false flags going on, and clearly the deep state is desperate. The only way they can do this is basically tug at your heartstrings by talking about the children, like we just talked about. And of course, if they could use them as human shields, it would not surprise me at all. And we've got to change that narrative shift, because if they don't, it's going to distract you from the IG report, which is damning. And the hearings are killing them. And of course, we've got all this success in North Korea that they just won't cover. But we know And we know Iran is next, and we've known Iran is next for a while now. And I want to take you to this. This again was at 9 o'clock, and then we had this tweet from Donald Trump, and this was at would have been 7 a.m. your time. FBI techs have revealed anti-Trump bias at Fox News. Big news, but the fake news doesn't want to cover total corruption. The witch hunt has turned out to be a scam. At some point soon, the mainstream media will have to cover correctly too big a story. And of course, I say 7 a.m. your time, but whatever time that would be for you. Okay, so President Trump is correct. He's winning. He's winning. And the mainstream media is going to have to cover it. Because after a while, what are they going to talk about? They don't have much to talk about. They're trying to distract us from the IG report, but we all know what's going on. And we all know Iran is next. Their regime is in trouble too. And of course, we've got all these young Iranians taken to the street, and they are resisting, calling for change, and hashtagging Donald Trump like crazy. They're waking up. They're following QAnon. And so, of course, what does the deep state do? They got to reach for projection, the classic projection. And it's the only thing they know how to do because they don't have any kind of format. They don't have any kind of, they don't really have any sort of solid fundamentals that they run off of. These people are sick, and we're winning. We're winning, folks. Let's move on. Q ads on here, 11 minutes after the hour of 9. Spelling error due to mobile. Okay, so we're not talking about chickadees. We're talking about children. No big deal. Next post is coming to you at 21 minutes after the hour of 9, and Anon posts this picture right here entitled Ring. Have a peek at her ring, just sick. And Q responds by saying part of the club Q. And this picture is of one Miss Sheila Jackson Lee. Miss Jackson, if you're nasty, coming to us out of the 18th District of Texas. And she made some news yesterday. She had some stunning information that none of us knew. She knew when Rod Rowe was going to get fired. Now, I've been doing this for a long time. I didn't know Rod Rowe was getting fired. Hey, Miss Jackson, can you let me know what day was that? It was going to be later this week sometime. What day was that?
What you planning to do on Friday?
Ah, that's right, Friday. Yeah, you knew all about Friday. That's weird that you knew that because I didn't know that. None of my friends knew it. None of the sources that I've been looking at all week knew about that. You knew about that. It's almost like you had special information. It's almost like you had a little leaker sharing it with you, a little leaky pants sharing that with you. I wonder how you knew that. Seems so interesting that you're so privy to this kind of information. Well, this Anon says, have a peek at her ring, just sick. Q says, part of a club. We can't really look at it from this picture, but we can blow it up here. Let's take a look at it. Looks like a nice ring. Probably didn't get that at the swap meet, did you, Miss Jackson Lee? Yeah, that's pretty sweet. It's got a bunch of diamonds and triangles, and it looks just like some images on the FBI website. Wait a minute, that's the boy lover logo. Looks like a pizza. Looks like some pizza logos on some pizza restaurants that I've seen. I wonder if they're related. Did you know that that's what that meant? Did you know that? Did you get this at the swap meet? Where did you get this, Miss Jackson? Did you know that that's a pedophile symbol? You know, for pedophiles to let other pedophiles know that they're pedophiles? How about that? Is that the club you're in? That's not a good club to be in, Miss Jackson. You might want to talk about that club. And you know, this is on the FBI's website, so you know that they know that you know. How about that? That's interesting stuff. Now, Q says you're all in the same club. Are you in a club? Are you in a little pizza club? A little boy lover pizza club? And you're sticking it on your finger there to show everybody? You know the FBI knows this, right? I bet they got their eye on you. Well, the rest of us got our eyes on you, too. Sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real. Let's move on. Next post comes in at 43 minutes after the hour of 10. We get this Hannity link. Reread drops regarding 302 mod. DOJ forced to supply. Then we get Rod Rosenstein in one bracket. Fireworks rank and file testifying as informants. Hussein White House senior staffer on record. Pain. House of Cards. These people are sick. Doctors treating Q. All right. This link takes you to Hannity. And at the bottom of that little story, it actually takes you to the full story, which is this Fox link right here. So let's get on that. Fox News. FBI may have modified witness reports, misled DOJ watchdog with false information, GOP rep says. The FBI may have edited and changed key witness reports in the Hillary Clinton and Russia investigations. A top House Republican charged in a hearing into FBI and Justice Department misconduct Tuesday. Freedom Caucus Chair Representative Mark Meadows, RNC, also raised the possibility that the FBI misled the DOJ watchdog in an attempt to hide the identities of FBI employees who were caught sending anti-Trump messages. The House Judiciary and Oversight Committees were questioning Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz over his bombshell report into FBI and DOJ misconduct during the Hillary Clinton email probe. And let me just give you a little listen here.
Another thing that I would ask you to look into, there is growing evidence that 302s were edited and changed. And it gets back to what Ms. Handel said in terms of those particular interview sessions. And those 302s, it is suggested that they were changed to either prosecute or not prosecute individuals, and that is very troubling, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
And if I could just mention, we have been getting those kind of referrals, and as often happens when we issue reports like this, we get other information coming to us, and we are intending to follow up on that. But I just want to reassure you and the committee, I'm here to let you know what we're being told by the FBI is their concerns. Obviously, Director Wray and the leadership of the FBI and ourselves, I'm certainly not looking to step aside on this, but it is their interests that they need to be articulated to the committee.
Well, that is disturbing if indeed these 302 statements were modified. And Q is asking us to reread the drops. And I remember seeing it back in April here. I'll take you to, this is half of the post right here where it's talking about Strzok being interviewed, Strzok and Page, relationship with their judge. Yeah, Peter Strzok was buddy-buddy with Contreras, right? And he recused himself after the case, which was very, very strange. And of course, this is all going to link them to Fusion GPS. And that, of course, is how they got the dossier from the Brits. All being facilitated, looks like, by Google. And then we see the 302s being mentioned again on June 10th. Post 1443, fly, Rod Rosenstein, fly, failure per White House instruction agreement. Yeah, he didn't hold up his end of the bargain. And they were going to declassify 3 public documents. And you remember that. There was the 1, which is the Whopper with cheese. That's the whole thing. Then there was the 2, which is the modified. And it's the Rod Rosenstein version. But of course, we got released the number 3 version. That was the terrible version. That was the DJ Rod Rowe remix. Okay, that sucked. Now, this EO was what was going to make the demand that this happened. The president was finally going to step in and say, all right, we need to know what we need to know. Now, let's go down here. We've got James Comey, number 2, Andrew McCabe, Loretta Lynch, Bill Priestap, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page. And then we have these ellipses here, which I assume is talking about how do you legally inject evidence. And of course, you do that with the 302s, the text. It gives everything away. It damages themselves. And it's going to talk about what went on in the tarmac, what was being discussed with Loretta Lynch on the tarmac. Aunt Loretta, were you getting promised a seat on the Supreme Court? And it's going to talk about how the FBI and DOJ completely mishandled all this. And of course, the operative insertion was our spy from the UK, MI6, SIS. Now, going back to the current Q post, Rod Rosenstein is under 1 bracket. And we see back in, looks like the 12th of June, Rod Rosenstein has 3 brackets. Well, remember, 3 versions of this IG report. And then on the 14th, we see him in 2 brackets. And that's, of course, where they're talking about the original IG unredacted report, the modified ID unredacted report, and then the DJ Rod Rowe remix, number 3, modified IG redacted report. Okay, that version sucks. We don't want that. And that was the one that we got, wasn't it? And which shows that the FBI and DOJ were mishandling the email investigation. And of course, that's going to expose Rod Rowe because he's likely the one that did the modifications. That will lead us to these fireworks. Rank and file testifying as informants? You bet. 24 FBI agents. Actually, sounds like hundreds, but 24 FBI agents ready to go. Who knows? Maybe we've already gotten their testimony. What's that going to reveal? Hussein, White House senior staffer, on record. Well, that's a big deal. If we've got a White House senior staffer on record testifying as an informant, that is going to bring some pain, and it's going to bring the whole house of cards down. These people are indeed sick, but that's okay. We have doctors standing by. Let's move on. Next post comes in at 6 minutes after the hour of 1. Q takes us to an April 25th post that says, "Are you awake?" Well, I think I am. Do you see for yourself the MSM propaganda tool of the left? I think we do. We do. We've seen that for a while. And that's all starting to kind of get exposed more and more. Because they don't really have much of a platform to stand on anymore other than hate. Do you see Facebook, Twitter, Google censoring non-left POVs? No, these people can do whatever they want. Shoot. Peter Fonda just last night went ballistic on Twitter, threatening this poor kid, Barron Trump. Disgusting. And I don't want to go way into it because this is a kid right here. This kid didn't do anything to anybody. And these cowards, they hide behind these kids, just like they're hiding behind these kids on the border. This issue's been going on for a long time, and they're just using them. They're not using them maybe as literal human shields, but definitely figuratively. And it's disgusting. It's cowardly. Do you see the corruption? Of course we do. You see the evil? Of course we do. Are you a slave? Are you controlled? Are you a sheep? Are you awake? I don't know sometimes. I guess we're a little bit of everything, aren't we? I guess we're awake to the fact that we've been controlled sheep. Do you think for yourself? Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I think you guys do too. Look, best part of these videos, comment section. If you're new to these videos, hang out in the comment section. These people are brilliant. These people will teach you a lesson down there. It's fantastic. And that's how we learn the truth. Facts, history, sharing what we know. Everybody's got a little bit of genius in them, don't they? And once we all realize that, instead of being told that we're all these losers that are dependent on the state, that's when we can have a great awakening. And that's when they will truly lose control. When people realize that we don't have to be dependent on Hollywood. We don't need DC. We don't need Big Pharma. We need each other. Respect opinion or attack those who dare challenge the narrative. That's been the style. Ladies and gentlemen, think back to, even a year ago, 2 years ago. How did you talk to your friends then? How did you talk on social media then? It was a little bit different, wasn't it? The climate was different. It wasn't so easy to talk about what you believed. Well, it's time to challenge the narratives right in front of you. Who are the true fascists? The ones that don't want you to speak. Who are the true racists? The ones that constantly polarize everyone and say that you can't do this because of this, or this happened because you are X color, or X gender, or you name it. Those are the true racists. The ones that are always constantly trying to make people feel like they're downtrodden. Why does the Antifa flag mimic that of the Nazis? Because it's the same damn thing. Coincidence? I think not. For humanity, wake up, learn, fight, fight, fight. Where we go one, we go all. QAnon says they want you divided. And they do. And they're going to try and do it now from the inside. They're going to, I would not doubt, mark my words, folks, they are going to be it's going to be a whole new slew of Q channels popping up. Whether it's things like what I do or whether they're online in different facets. But everyone's going to claim, oh, you got the new Q channel. They're going to start trying to distract you. They already did it once before. They're going to call us names. They're going to try and discredit us. They make threats, which is frightening. They censor. They sure do. Spent hours yesterday just trying to upload a video. It was stuck at 0 for probably a good 40 minutes. I'm always getting censored. My first video on this channel was censored. And I'm sure you have plenty of stories yourself. They lie, they project, they cheat, they steal, they harm. Yeah. They harm children. And that's not okay. That's sick and that's evil. And at some point, the streets for them will not be safe. And nor should it be. I consider myself a pretty chill guy. When you start messing with the kids, you're not okay with me anymore. And I think you understand what I mean. But they want us divided, and that's not going to happen. Me and you and me, you and I, us guys. Not going to happen. Let's move on. Next post comes in at 4:09. Abandoned ship. Hussein staff talking. Then we have this Twitter link. What are we leading up to? Q. Well, the Twitter link takes us here. Obama cyber chief confirms stand down order against Russian cyber attacks in 2016 summer. And then it takes us to this Yahoo link. Let's have a look at it, eh? Obama cyber chief confirms stand-down order against Russian cyber attacks in summer 2016. The Obama White House chief cyber official testified Wednesday that proposals he was developing to counterattack Russia's attack on the U.S. presidential election were put on a back burner after he was ordered to stand down his efforts in the summer of 2016. The comments by Michael Daniel, who served as White House cybersecurity coordinator between 2012 and January of last year, provided his first public confirmation of a much-discussed passage in the book, Russian Roulette, the inside story of Putin's war on America and the election of Donald Trump, co-written by this reporter and David Korn, that detailed his thwarted efforts to respond to the Russian attack. They came during a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing into how the Obama administration dealt with Russian cyber and information warfare attacks in 2016, an issue that has become one of the more politically sensitive subjects in the panel's ongoing investigation into Russia's interference into the U.S. election and any links to the Trump campaign. The view that the Obama administration failed to adequately piece together intelligence about the Russian campaign and develop a forceful response has clearly gained traction with the Intelligence Committee. Senator Mark Warner, the ranking Democrat on the panel, said in an opening statement that we were caught flat-footed at the outset and our collective response was inadequate to meet Russia's escalation. That conclusion was reinforced Wednesday by another witness, Victoria Nuland, who served as Assistant Secretary of State for Europe during the Obama administration. She told the panel that she had been briefed as early as December 2015 about the hacking of the Democratic National Committee, long before senior DNC officials were aware of it, and that the intrusion had all the hallmarks of a Russian operation. As she and other State Department officials became more alarmed about what the Russians were up to in the spring of 2016, they were authorized by then Secretary of State John Kerry to develop proposals for ways to deter the Russians. But most of those steps were never taken, in part because officials assumed they would be taken up by the next administration. I believe there were deterrence measures that we could have taken and should have taken, Nuland testified. As intelligence came in during the late spring and early summer of that year about the Russian attack, Daniel instructed his staff on the National Security Council to begin developing options for aggressive countermeasures to deter the Kremlin's efforts, including mounting U.S. denial-of-service attacks on Russian news sites and other actions targeting Russian cyber actors. Daniel declined to discuss the details of those options during Wednesday's open hearing, saying he would share them with the panel during a classified session later in the day. But he described his proposals as a full range of potential actions that the U.S. government could use in the cyber arena to impose costs on the Russians, both openly to demonstrate that we could do it as a deterrent and also clandestinely to disrupt their operations as well. Senator James Risch of Idaho asked about a Russian roulette passage in which one of Daniel's staff members, Daniel Prieto, recounted a staff meeting shortly after the cyber coordinator was ordered by Susan Rice, President Obama's national security advisor, to stop his efforts and stand down. This order was in part because Rice feared the options would leak and box the president in. I was incredulous and in disbelief, Prieto is quoted as saying in the book. It took me a moment to process. In my head, I was like, did I hear that correctly? Prieto told the authors, then he spoke up, asking Daniel, why the hell are we standing down? Michael, can you help us understand? Daniel has confirmed that the account was an accurate rendering of what happened in his staff meeting. He said his bosses at the NSC, he did not specifically mention Rice in his testimony, had concerns about how many people were working on the options. So the decision from his superiors at the Obama White House was to neck down the number of people that were involved in developing our ongoing response options. Daniel added that it's not accurate to say that all activity ceased at that point. He and his staff shifted our focus to assisting state governments to protect against Russian cyber attacks against state and local election systems. But as for his work on developing cyber deterrence measures, those actions were put on a back burner, and that was not the focus of our activity during that time period. Instead, Obama officials chose another course of action after becoming frustrated that Republican leaders on Capitol Hill would not endorse a bipartisan statement condemning Russian interference and fearful that any unilateral action by them would feed then candidate Donald Trump's claims that the election was rigged. They chose a private stern warning by Obama to Russian President Vladimir Putin at a summit in China in early September 2016 to stop his country's campaign to disrupt the U.S. election. Obama officials were also worried that a vigorous cyber response along the lines that Daniel had proposed could escalate into a full-scale cyber war, and they have since argued they believe that the president's warning had some impact, noting, as Daniel did in his testimony, that they saw some tamping down in Russian probing of state election data systems after Obama's private talk with Putin. But Nuland testified that while Russians were a little less active in September after the Obama warning, Russian activity picked up again in October when the Russians accelerated their social media campaign using phony Facebook ads and Twitter bots. We saw an increase in what they were doing in social media, Daniel agreed. They shifted their focus. Nuland also revealed in response to questions by Senator Susan Collins of Maine another previously unpublicized dimension to the Russian attack. That summer, Collins said FBI officials advised the committee that Russian diplomats were traveling around the country in areas they were not, under diplomatic protocols, permitted to visit, apparently to collect intelligence. Asked by Collins if she believed this was part of the Russian so-called active measures attack on the election, Nuland responded, "I do." After the November 2016 election in which Trump defeated Hillary Clinton, Obama did impose new sanctions on Russia's intelligence services and expelled diplomats. But Nuland testified that most in the administration saw that as only a beginning of what needed to be done. It's fair to say that all of us in the process assumed what was done in December and January would be a starting point for what the incoming administration would then build on. The Wednesday hearing by the intelligence panel did not touch steps the Trump administration had taken, or in many cases failed to take, to respond to the Russian election attack. But both witnesses emphasized that there is new urgency to the issue to develop proposals to do so. Daniel noted that a malicious new Russian botnet known as VPN Filter has been discovered infecting home office routers and allowing hackers to intercept internet communications. He said that this was a type of malware we hadn't seen before and shows the intent of the Russians to continue their cyber activities. Nuland also noted that other nation-state actors have learned from the Russian playbook, singling out the Chinese, who she said are now conducting influence operations and disinformation campaigns in Australia, Taiwan, and other countries in the region. All this, she said, calls for new U.S. government measures, including the creation of a multi-agency fusion center modeled after the National Counterterrorism Center created after the September 11th terror attacks, to collect intelligence and expose state-sponsored efforts to undermine our democracy, and the appointment of an international coordinator to develop coordinated responses with U.S. allies. There is a lot to take away from that article. Bit of a long article, but I think it was important to kind of let some of it sink in. This is going to be pretty big. Obama, of course, telling the cyber chief to stand down shouldn't be any surprise. That was sort of the way in the Obama administration, wasn't it? Bow down, kneel down, get down, look down, stand down. That was the way of the world under the Obama administration. And now we have some very interesting timing with this book that's being announced. Who knows when that's going to come out? Maybe right around time for midterms, you think? And that should be very, very damning coming from the cyber chief. Now, what I found also interesting about this is, of course, the platform it was offered on, Yahoo News. Michael Isikoff, not a Trump guy. Yahoo, very traditionally liberal media, hard liberal. And look, I don't think it matters on what side of the aisle you sit on, but this is important in seeing that we're going to start getting some of the truth out to liberal media and their readers, and they can start seeing the truth about the Obama administration. So this is exciting. Q, of course, says, abandoned ship, Hussein staff talking. What are we leading up to? I wonder, would we be leading up to Seth Rich? Could this just be still a late ETA, June ETA? Who knows? I can't help but think we're leading to these right here, these RICO charges. And I'm going to give you this link here as well to chew on. Have some fun with this. This is off PACER.GOV. It was updated just a few days ago. Wednesday, June 20th, 2018. Summons issued electronically as to George Soros. Request for summons to issue defendant George Soros filed by Gary John Byrne. Feel the burn. June 19th. Summons 14 issued electronically as to American Bridge to 21st Century David Brock, Hillary Rodham Clinton, William Jefferson Clinton, Clinton Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, Clinton Ziostra Enterprise Partnership, Correct the Record, Jan Galuli, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, Media Matters for America, John Podesta, Share Blue, and Jonathan Wackrow. How about that? So enjoy this. Here it all is right here. You can download it if you want. Very cool stuff, but I have a feeling we might be leading there, and maybe it's just going to be a late ETA, but hopefully we can finally get some information regarding who. His name was Seth Rich. All right, let's move on to the next post. 5:50 a.m. Pam Warner tweets this. I'm at the Trump rally in Duluth, Minnesota, waiting in a huge room full of people to get in, and a guy gets up on the table and starts talking about Q. He starts chanting, "Where we go one." Those of us who knew responded loudly, "We go all," many times over and over. I had to explain to many people around me what it meant. Was so awesome. Q says, "We hear you, Patriots. Where we go one, we go all." Wow, pretty exciting stuff. Yeah, and wow, there was a bunch of people at this rally. And it went really, really well. And it was neat to see. And so congratulations to you, Pam, because you've been acknowledged by QAnon as well, too. So very, very cool. And it's really nice. Imagine that. A bunch of Americans hanging out in public, getting together, feeling good. Imagine that. Where we go one, we go all. Next post comes in at 18 minutes after the hour of 7. An Anon post this picture right here from the rally where President Trump walks over to this Anon with a Q shirt on, points him out, and the dude is totally stoked. And President Trump's like, "Hey, bro, sweet shirt. Where'd you get it?" And the guy's like, "Thanks, bro. I got it at Ross. I love you." And everyone's stoked. Q proof picture. And the Anon says, "Does it get any more obvious than that?" Q says together, "Where we go one, we go all. Hashtag winning Q." Yeah, it looks like a whole bunch of winning in that picture, huh? Yeah, the dude's pumped. He's got a sweet ass Q shirt on. Trump's like, "Hey, I like that shirt." And everyone's like, "Yeah, what about my shirt?" This guy's like, "Hey, I got a flag on my shirt." Everyone's all excited. Nice to see, isn't it? Moving on. 19 minutes after the hour of 7, Q adds on, "Look for more direct confirmations. It's time." Yeah, the confirmations have gotten more and more direct, and they've gotten pretty much multiple times daily at this point. Q is constantly checking in with us. To be honest with you, I'm inundated with Q these days. The posts, they used to be back in the day, if you remember, it was like 4 or 5 posts, and now it's like 23 posts. It's really coming in almost faster than we can record it, but it's great. It's time, and it's so fun to see everybody getting excited again. And look, as the mainstream media tries to rail against this, truth starts to come to light. And do you want to tune into the news and see a bunch of gloom and doom, or do you want to see a little bit of that in your life? That's fun to see, isn't it? Anyway, we're gonna move on. Next post, 8:13. Q says, boom, takes us to a link. And then here we got these descending brackets again. And here's the link. From Representative Matt Gaetz, "If we were really serious about oversight, we'd say the documents will be present at 10 a.m. tomorrow. If they're not, at 10:01, we start the impeachment proceedings regarding Rod Rosenstein." And I'm going to play it for you. Here we go.
Had all this obstruction. This meeting takes place Friday. Paul Ryan, Devin Nunes, Gowdy Goodlatte, promising documents, or Ryan says he will join in the efforts to hold Rosenstein in contempt, and maybe that leads to the impeachment of Rosenstein. And from what I'm hearing, that may happen as early as tomorrow, Matt Gaetz.
Well, I'm just sick of the games and I'm sick of the delays. If we were really serious about oversight, we'd say the documents will be present at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And if they're not, at 10:01, we start the impeachment proceedings regarding Rod Rosenstein. I mean, you look at the facts you just discovered, Sean. The migration of people from the Hillary Clinton email investigation to the Mueller probe was about as voluminous as the migration across the southern border. And it's obvious that any prosecution or impeachment of Donald Trump would necessarily require Peter Strzok as the star witness. Well, if you had Peter Strzok as your star witness, you'd be wishing you had Mark Furman as your star witness. They threw the bum out of the building, and rightfully so.
Well, that would classify as a boom. Did you see Matt Gaetz' face? He was serious. He was super serious. He was super duper serious. He was Clint Eastwood serious. Calling out Rod Rosenstein, saying get it done by sun up tomorrow. Calling you out in the street like a good old fashioned 10 paces. Wyatt Earp style. Why'd you modify the IG report? Well, this lends to my theory here. 3, 2, 1, Rod Row. And I've been saying for a while that this was just the 3-step unlayering of Rod Rosenstein's undoing. And Q adds on to that, are they serious? Yeah, they looked pretty serious. Clint Eastwood, serious. He was like, catch me outside. How about that? He was super serious, ready to go. 10 a.m. And that's going to be hours after you hear this video. So we shall see. Next post, 8:22. We serve at the pleasure of the president. We left the decision on timing to him. Today at the rally, he made his decision. Shift in tactics. Attacks. Q. So perhaps this shift in tactics is referring to the president calling out some of these QAnon followers, and looks like that's going to become more and more familiar with Trump as he probably embraces the QAnon community. And of course, the QAnon community has embraced President Trump, and we're going to start seeing that more and more in the public eye. Probably a lot more proofs until it just becomes one and the same. And of course, the mainstream media is likely to ramp up their attacks. I'm assuming that's what that sign means, the little thing there. That's a technical term, by the way. It's called a I'm not sure if that just means that it's going to escalate, go up, or if we need to be looking out for attacks from above. But I think it just means that it's going to upscale. But looks to me like the Q team left it up to President Trump, and he made that decision today. And what a decision it is. That means that QAnon is going to start coming out into the light more and more. That means exposure to people like you and I, who have been talking about this stuff for a long time. If you're just joining us, you're most certainly welcome. Feel free to ask questions down below. There are many helpful people. Let's move on. 44 minutes after the hour of 9, we get this. Now, that's what I call a VIP, and that's this right here. Check that out. That is a VIP pass. Why is this relevant? Quick little side story. When I was young, I was in a band, and we used to make these VIP cards with our own band on it. And then we would go to all the famous concerts, and we would just show them the VIP pass. And we would use them for so many. I got into so many concerts doing that. Kids, don't do that. But I'm just saying. Anyway, that is from Q Plus. So it looks like maybe even Q Plus. I wonder if Q Plus took that picture. How about that? It is a Q Plus picture. Pretty sweet shirt, bro. Next post, 28 minutes after the hour of 12, an Anon post. This VIP Anon reduced for infinity for you. VIP Anon. And Q says January 20th, 2017, June 20th, 2018. Exactly 17 months. Do you believe in coincidences? God bless you all. And I'm going to try and play this for you. This thing, I've already tried to save it for you a few times, and it just keeps coming out quirky. So we'll try it. So I hope that came out for you okay, but it was Homeboy with the QAnon shirt. Very, very cool souvenir. He's got the video synced up with him, and of course the camera, the second camera is on him. Very, very cool. Congratulations to you, VIP Anon. And this January 20th, 2017, that was the inauguration day, and June 20th is my birthday. Exactly 17 months. Do you believe in coincidences? Do you? Do you? God bless y'all. Q. Adding on to that, this is 35 minutes after the hour 12. We told you proofs were going to be very important very soon. New eyes, be ready. 5-5, we thank you for your service. Yeah, we've got people from all over the world watching this now, good and bad. And the attacks are going to increase. Remember that. So I'm sure we're going to see new Q channels pop up, new LARPs popping up, new disinformation popping up, new trolls popping up. But at the same time, new eager eyes ready to find out about QAnon. So we need to be ready, loud and clear. We thank you for your service. And for those of you who are new, Q has been talking. Now, this is debatable, but I think overall Q is saying loud and clear with the 5-5 there. We thank you for your service, Q. Well, we thank you for your service also, Q. And you, to all of you listening, I thank you for listening. Let's move on. Adding on to that, Q says we stand, we fight together. Organized riots being planned. Countermeasures in place. Resistance far smaller than portrayed by MSM. Attacks will intensify. You collectively are a massive threat. Censorship applied to scale down impact reach. It's failing. Trust yourself. Public awakening. Q. Yeah, I suppose if you're watching the MSM, you would think that it's just this wave of attacks and everybody's rioting and getting in the street and protesting and this and that. Well, now we're having these organized riots. So we'll see how that goes. And hopefully no one really, really gets hurt. We don't want to see that. That's not how we want to take back our country. But if that's the case, then that's the case. And Q is saying that countermeasures are in place. But yeah, I would imagine that the resistance is far smaller. Look, these guys have always been really, really good at marching and hashtagging and coloring ribbons and changing their Facebook profile picture. But what they're not really good at is truly, truly standing for something. And when it comes down to organizing riots and really putting your body behind it, you better stand for something. And I think that's where we're really going to separate the men from the boys, proverbially, if you will. And of course, I don't just mean men, but you understand what I'm saying. It's going to separate the people who really, really have some stones and the ones who don't. And as the attacks intensify, so will the emotions. But collectively, we are a massive threat. We're a massive threat right now. And that's why the censorship has been, it's been incessant. I can't even begin to describe it for you, but it is failing and we're going to make it through. Trust yourself. And adding on to that, Q says, Q&A Saturday, time to be determined, Q. Well, if I can figure out the time, I may try to even live stream it. We'll see. I had my live streaming taken away because I am a terrorist. But we'll see how it works out. I might still be able to do it. I think I got it back. I was supposed to have gotten it back last month, so we'll see how it goes. But if that's able to be, let me know if that's something that you would like to do, or if you would like me to just wait and just post it afterwards. You can let me know. Anyway, those are your Q posts, quite a few. But as always, it is my pleasure to bring you these posts. If you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. It greatly helps me out. And if you are new to this, please keep in mind that you will get unclicked and unchecked and unsubscribed. So don't be surprised if you don't hear from me. It's just because you've been unclicked. But please do so anyway. It really, really helps the algorithms, helps keep this message out. And most of all, please share this video with everybody that you can. It really helps get the message out, which is more important than anything. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Before I do, come join me on Twitter if you are so inclined. I spend a lot of my time on Twitter after I post, usually keeping up with the Western Hemisphere's daily news, and that's how I sort of stay in touch. So if you are the kind of person that likes to get on Twitter, please follow me over here at IPOT1776. That's In Pursuit of Truth, IPOT1776. All right, that's all I got for you. And until next time, this is Sir Patrick Mack. Stay optimistic, stay aware, stay loving, stay patriotic, my friends.